presidential aspirant to President Bola Ahmed Tinubuu at his residence in Lagos. Bakare stated after the meeting that his lifelong vision is to see a Nigeria that works, emphasizing that he shared his thoughts on this with the president. He also expressed optimism that God would guide President Tinubuu to help the nation bounce back and leave an indelible mark. Let's take a look.
Well, it's not about just reservations. It's about how the country will go well. My personal vision is to see a nation that works in my lifetime. And those things I've discussed with Mr. President. They're not hidden things, but I've learned that when you discuss with the person in charge, you leave it with him to do whatsoever he wills with what you have suggested. So I've had a private conversation with Mr. President, and I'm glad that he received me well, and I trust that God will help our nation. What transpired in my discussion with him stays with me and with him. God guiding him and giving him wisdom will help this nation not to slide or go down the drain, but to bounce back so that it can leave a mark that cannot be erased.
Well, all right. Well, this meeting comes just weeks after Bakare publicly criticized the president, urging him to stop playing God and embrace humility in governance. Bakare accused Tinubu's administration of steering Nigeria adrift, descending into tyranny, and demonstrating a brazen abuse of power. He specifically pointed to the National Assembly becoming a haven for legislative rascality and a rubber stamp for the executive rather than upholding constitutional governance. Let's take a look before we take some reactions.
Mr. President, it is through your influence that the Nigerian National Assembly has become a haven for legislative rascality. Mr. President, it's under your watch that the National Assembly has become an extension of the executive, grossly violating the principles of separation of powers and rubber stamping the whims and caprices of your office, all while singing the international anthem of psychoviolence on your mandate, which shall stand. I say, Mr. President, Nigeria is too delicate for this kind of politics. If this state capture was what you meant by a Milokan, it is an anticlimax that can only be counterproductive at the end. I urge you, Mr. President, to think deeply and reflect on these words. No man is wise enough, nor good enough to be trusted with unlimited power. Mr. President, please stop playing God.
All right, you know, I had to play this video side by side with the visit because obviously that's what caused the reaction, because I believe this comment was, you know, back in April, just a few weeks ago. And of course, Nigerians have reacted to the visit and his, you know, his statement there where he made after he visited the president yesterday. Let me take this tweet from JJ, who wrote, "Everyone is just fighting for his personal interest and pocket. Nigeria lacks leaders with conviction and personal integrity. They say one thing today, tomorrow you see them doing other things, e.g. Wike, Buala, Reno, Shehu Sani, and now Bakare. It's indeed pathetic, and you'll understand why." But you know, I mean, after he's a man of God, after that meeting with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at his residence, I believe, you know, he's now adopted a more, you know, conciliatory note and all of that. Bimbai, our favorite Naija wife, go ahead.
You know, he's been extremely vocal even since May 2023 about how he felt about the election.
Yes.
He expressed how he thought it wasn't a free and fair election,
yes,
how he felt that he didn't agree with President Tinubu's values. So this has been consistent from him. Well, since he won't tell us what happened in the exchange, we now have to speculate and assume. It would have been nice for him to just give us a summary of some of the key points addressed in that exchange, because his body language shows us that he didn't go in with the same fiery opposition spirit that we've seen him express over time. Again, it's all assumption, but I would have hoped. See, there's nothing wrong with opposition leaders going to see the president, but what we want is opposition leaders who go and stand on their own principles, who stand on values, who stand their ground when they go and meet the president. Not that they go there, then they all come out sheepishly, smiling, okay, well, things are going to work out. Of course, it's important to be optimistic and believe that things will work out. But the point I'm making is that we need strong, bold opposition who are ready to challenge and tackle these issues in a very diplomatic and democratic way when they go and interface with these leaders. But the body language we're seeing, since again, he's not disclosing what was discussed, is a little bit disappointing, especially because over the past few days, we've seen Sim Fubara, we've seen Governor Adeleke. Remember, I shared a video with you where some Osun State APC chieftains were saying that, we're warning Governor Adeleke that the APC ticket is not for sale. You can't pay President Tinubuu for it. So we were laughing. we were laughing about it.
Because obviously we took the story of Adeleke yesterday and he clearly detailed that he was a visit for Salah. And obviously there was a statement that was released yesterday from, you know, the Osun's spokesman saying that Adeleke was not defective.
But of course, the questions around that citizens will ask when they see these images is, what are the undertones of these conversations? What is being planned? Is Tinubuu, the master strategist, bringing everybody under his net so that there will be no opposition in 2027?
Okay. Pastor Tunde Bakare is not opposition. He's a prophet of God. He's a man of faith. And the interaction between, you know, pastors or prophets and kings is a well-established tradition. If you go very quickly to your Bible and you open to 1 Kings chapter 18, you will see the story there of King Ahab and his relationship with Prophet Elijah. Prophet Elijah was a man of faith, and he was very critical of King Ahab. And he usually gave predictions, and he always told him, and he was very consistent. After that fashion, Pastor Tunde Bakare of the Citadel Community Church, Global Citadel Community Church, gives these sermons where he looks at the state of the nation. The last one he did was 45 days ago, where he was very critical, as we have seen, of the Tinubuu administration. So he was not speaking as an opposition figure. He was speaking as a man of faith, making prophetic pronouncements. But that does not stop him from, you know, going to visit the president in the spirit of the season. He has said, well, he does not want to disclose what they discuss. It stays with him. It stays with President Tinubuu himself. But whatever message that he has delivered, he summarized it that his vision is that of a Nigeria that works. And that's what all of us are asking for. Yeah. We want a Nigeria that works, whether in the Northeast, or in Benue, or in Imo, or in Umukwata. Nigeria must work.
For the first time. Of course.
Nigeria must work for all of us, whether we're in the rural or the urban areas. So, you know, I assume that we shouldn't read too many minutes. That does not stop Pastor Bakare from giving another State of the Nation address and criticizing the president, because the job of these religious leaders is to speak truth to power, to be prophetic. Yeah. The ones I don't know about are the ones who go beyond their limits and begin to comment on 5G, comment on HIV/AIDS, comment on COVID-19. You know, areas in which they don't have any competence. Right. You know, but, you know, it's okay.
Well said. Well, speaking about spiritual... One second.
Tunde Bakare is also an opposition leader.
I was going to say...
He's an aspirant.
Yeah, I was just going
to say. He ran against President Tinubuu in the last election. He was vice presidential candidate with President Muhammadu Buhari. He's an aspirant, so he's
at
opposing
that point,
to.
They were in the same party.
But he's opposing to. Did he run with him? He ran against him now.
They were in the same party.
So he's also an opposition leader.
No,
he's
he
right.
didn't
Vimba, I think you are right.
He didn't run
to say
against
that.
Tinubuu. He didn't run.
In the primaries of this last election.
No, he didn't run against Tinubuu.
In the primaries of this last
No, not
election.
against Tinubuu.
So Tunde Bakare was
He
not an
withdrew.
aspiration.
He withdrew from it.
But he
They
too
were
was running
political
against
associates
Tinubuu.
in the past.
But it doesn't
the
matter. So
primary
he's opposing
thing
to
we
him now.
We know him for is his evangelism.
Yeah.
But he's also in
his job as a
politics.
pastor.
He's also in politics.
No, he's not in politics now.
I was an aspirant in the last presidential
he's
election.
not in
He wasn't in
politics.
politics. Now, wow.
All right.
His main job is as
And he's been quite critical. Only recently, he was critical with the Tinubuu administration, and I guess that is why she, described him as an opposition leader. And of course, he was in politics as well as a presidential aspirant. Meanwhile, Dr. Abati, speaking about spiritual leaders, Rufai, I'd like for you to touch on this one. Meanwhile, a coalition of Catholic priests under the Charismatic Bishops' Conference of Nigeria has appealed to President Bola Ahmed Tinubuu to declare a state of emergency in Benue State following the killing of 43 people in Gewa West and Apa local government areas. The President General of the coalition, Leonard Kawas, during a press conference on Wednesday, denounced the violence, warning that the ongoing bloodshed and displacement have reached catastrophic levels. Let's take a look.
Refugee camps are swelling, internally displaced people are multiplying, and we are saying to our president, Bola Ahmed Tinubuu, that the time for people to be playing politics with the lives of Nigerians is over. Therefore, if Mr. President could declare a state of emergency in River State that had less crisis, what is stopping Mr. President from declaring a state of emergency in a place like Benue and a few other states that are already at war?
Well, all right. Speaking about spiritual leaders, speaking truth that didn't happen during Jonathan.
You are removing the governor with the President Tinubuu assets.
Oh, well, that didn't happen during the Jonathan
With
era.
the president, or G. I'm not saying Jonathan. Tinubuu is not Jonathan. They are two different human beings.
Okay.
Even the spelling of their name is different. Jonathan, Tinubuu is different. With the president, President Tinubuu assets is.
Leave me alone this morning.
My baby. I'm serious.
Go ahead. If I could hold it. Go ahead. Don't worry. Go ahead.
With the president, President Tinubuu has said, if he declares a state of emergency, it means he's removing the leader. What they are driving at is to remove the leader. I'm going to hold brief. See, you might say anything you want to say against me this morning. He's a member of the Catholic Church. That's what shocks me the most. I'm not saying he shouldn't be held accountable, but remember also they were against him even dabbling into politics at first, in the very start. So is the solution now the state of emergency? Please, with due respect, Dr. Abati served in that Jonathan's government. The state of emergency they declared in Borno, did it solve all the insecurity problem? Are they not still bombing Borno till dates? And please, we have and that's why I asked the question of other state actors and militia leaders. It's a multifaceted angle of what is happening in Borno, in Benue State today. There's also a political dimension to it. Look at the squabble going on in the APC as we speak. The governor is dealing with a lot. I'm not saying he cannot do better. He can do a whole lot better. But declaring a state of emergency is not the solution. How can we fix it? Yesterday, Dr. Abati was talking about how the military chief was in Maiduguri. Let us see how we can fight it with intelligence, with troops on ground, and most importantly, like you were saying, Vimbai, fixing the environmental degradation there. Because you see, we do not talk about the role climate change also plays in all of this. The fight and squabble for land resource, and also economic empowerment. The reason why you are having most of this strife and kidnapping and banditry and this insecurity is because there's little economic empowerment across board in all these areas. Nigerians are poor in a country where over 130 million lives on pittance per day. You will have all of this struggle. And that's the thing we should see. In the 80s, Audrey, after the Metiseni riot, there was a report that was released about the fact that there's a lot of poverty and insecurity and squabble and strife. I'm talking about the 80s when dollar to naira, when it was still 1 naira to the dollar. That if we do not fix those problems, we'll constantly have the problems of insecurity we're having. And it's happening today. Let's call it spade a spade. Now, bishops should not be the ones fanning the ember of discord by calling for state of emergency now.
Okay,
Bishop Blackby now.
Let me add a footnote to this. Now, when you talk about state of emergency, the operative rule is under Section 305 of the 1999 Constitution. It's the legality of it that is at issue. That Section 305 of the 1999 Constitution does not give the President of Nigeria the powers to abdicate the democratic structures in any particular state where a state of emergency is declared, when there is an apparent breakdown of law and order and a gazette approved by the National Assembly, has been declared and a proclamation is made. The problem with Rivers is that the President Bola Ahmed Tinubuu did something unconstitutional. This is the argument, by collapsing, removing, the governor, the State House of Assembly. Otherwise, the Constitution makes a provision under Section 305. Now, I do not agree with the charismatic Bishops' Conference saying that they want a state of emergency. We just spoke with Omale Ogamatu from Benue State, and he was saying that there is no complete breakdown of law and order in Benue State that will warrant anybody, asking for a state of emergency. He immediately dismissed that. And number 3 is the fact that these charismatic Catholic bishops, they were even complaining about the persecution of Christians in Nigeria. I think that that's the most substantive point. Is there a persecution of Nigerians, of Christians in Nigeria, particularly in the Middle Belt? President Tinubuu has said again and again, in fact, when he had audience with the Pope, that his administration respects the rights of Christians, of all faiths, and that his administration will do everything to defend the rights of persons to have the freedom of belief and the freedom of religion, as especially guaranteed under Chapter 4 of the 1999 Constitution.
All right. Well, in Lagos State, following the commissioning of the first 30 kilometers from the Lagos end of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway by President Bola Ahmed Tinubuu last week, a journalist and director at Object TV Media, Segun Olawoye, in a video that has now gone viral, discredited the claim by the federal government that 30 kilometers of the coastal highway had been completed, saying that the road is not up to 30 kilometers as stated. Let's take a look.
You all saw the video of the commissioning. They said 30 kilometers. First of all, I expected that the president would be on the road alongside the minister. To be driving along the kilometer stretch, they said they have completed, at least to give people confidence. But instead, what I saw was that they all boxed themselves in a conference room and they were impressing themselves by showing drone footage of whatever they said they have done at the projector screen. But I am here on the road now, 3rd of June. The 30 kilometers they claim that they have done.
The highway already has 30 kilometers completed. Nearly 20 kilometers from Victoria Island eastward towards Lekki Corridor, and nearly 10 kilometers from Eleko heading westward.
20 kilometers, they said, from VI to Eleko Corridor. The remaining 10 kilometers, they said, from Eleko inward. Gentlemen and ladies, I am at chainage 41.230 kilometers. And Eleko Junction is chainage 47.5. If you do the subtraction, what you have is 6.2 something kilometers. That simply means that the claim that they have completed 10 kilometers from Eleko into this place is not true. So in case you are thinking, oh, they have done 30 kilometers, I want to drive from VI, I want to go to Eleko, they are not together, they are disjointed like different pieces.
They're not together, or they are disjointed like different pieces. I mean, this video started trending yesterday, went viral yesterday. Yeah. So we urge the Ministry of Work to react to this video because we have seen that, you know, even some footage. Yesterday, I saw a video from Reno Omokri. He actually said that he followed President Bola Ahmed Tinubuu through that coastal highway. If you can pull that up, and look at how beautiful it looks there. It appears that he went on that ride, and it showed that it seemed well. He drove through, not the entire, but I just that road. But we've seen this video trending, and there's been so many reactions from that journalist, stating that he had actually gone there and he had measured, and he says that it's about 20 kilometers from his measurement that had just been completed. So we urge the Ministry of Works to come out and, show us, debunk the actual areas that he has mentioned. A quick comment from you.
No, you're spot on. So when this video came out here, I think by now, the Ministry of Works should be able to come out. And that's why we expect, the PR team. And coming out, apart from saying they're on their side, what they should also do is we should take a team of independent assessors, engineers and the likes that know more in this area, to have a drive-through. They should just say, okay, we did it up to this end. They should have a drive so we can have an independent body, that verifies all of this, what is happening. And it's really, really, really important. See, there's an office in England called OBR. It's called the Office of Budget Responsibility, where with budgetary provisions, there's an ombudsman that holds them to task. We should also have that with terms of projects, independent body. That's if the body is not corrupted, because the thing with Nigeria, before you know that they don't corrupt that body again. So that can say, okay, if you did XYD stretch of road, that you say you did it with this quality, let's now go and independently verify and release the reports before they are corrupted, though. Because that's the problem. But we need independent assessors to be able to look at it so we can get both sides and get what is clarity.
But very quickly, though, to the claim that it's disjointed, we have a long weekend coming up, so citizens are free to go for a drive on the road and see for themselves. I believe it's open.
Are people already passing there?
People are passing there, yes. People are passing there, yes.
I like that.
So people can go and drive for themselves, share your videos. Let's see from people's own experience.
Okay, Bimbai, I charge you so I can play it on what's trending. On Monday.
On Monday,
would you do that?
But you're sure that citizens are passing there to walk?
Yes, Rufai.
They are using that road, or you are sure?
Yes,
okay, so of your people using it, okay.
Yes. Plus, I just played Reno Omokuri's video as well.
No, this was official usage, Joe. It's not.
Is he an official? Okay, well, he said he was with the president.
You can see convoy now. That's official usage. He said he was with the president. As in citizen pass, have they opened
Okay, well, still in Lagos. Just talking about the beauty of Lagos and what, the government is doing. The Commissioner of Environment and Water Resources in Lagos, Tokunbo Wahab, has said that the state will impose a fine of 250,000 naira or a 3-month jail term on individuals who dump refuse illegally, litter, or deface the streets. He made the announcement on Tuesday at a media briefing, warning that serial offenders will face even stiffer punishments. I think that this is kudos, really, because we've seen crazy people, even, you want to say something, dumping on the streets. I like this.
I was going to say that Commissioner Tokunbo Wahab was just restating the law.
Yeah.
The Lagos State government has what they call the environmental law, of 2011. Law of the Environment, Lagos State 2011. They have the law establishing LOMA Act of 2016 or so. And then you also have the Federal Government Environmental Protection Act, of 2004. So there is no law in this country that allows people to dump refuse anyhow, or that allows people to engage in open defecation and also open urination.
Horrible videos.
So that's why, it's all about public health, public interest, public hygiene. And I think that Commissioner Wahab is in order by insisting. You brought a video where one man, an adult, riding a car, just stopped, I think on top of, was it Third Mainland Bridge?
I
was dumping refuse. And these are people who say they are educated. These are people who on Sunday will go to church, who on Friday will go to the mosque. And yet they don't care about the other person. Even when the Holy Books tell us that do unto others as you wish to be done unto. So I support the Lagos State government because those penalties are in the law. What is missing in the law is that instead of saying you will have 6 months imprisonment or is it 2 years, there's another one that says you will do 6 years. You know, I think they should also add community service.
Yes, okay.
If you dump refuse and you are arrested, they should publicly punish you for 2 months to be clearing refuse. And you wear a tag saying that this is an offender who has been polluting the environment. On the part of the Lagos State Ministry of Environment, they should provide more public toilets.
That's true.
If they are saying that they don't want people to defecate on bridges or to urinate in public. We don't have enough public toilets. And where those public toilets are provided, they should be properly maintained.
Well said. Lagosians, be warned, 250,000 naira or imprisonment. Kudos to Kumbo Wahab. Let's head over to Delta State now. Following the recent protests over the spate of kidnappings in Abraka and its environments, security operatives comprising federal hunters, vigilante groups, and the Nigerian police force on Wednesday killed 4 suspected kidnappers. Many gathered in front of the Abraka Divisional Police Station to celebrate with the security agents after their successful mission. Let's go.
All right, we are live in Abraka. You can see the people are outside. They are catching a glimpse of what is happening in the station. Men of the Nigerian police force, in collaboration with the local hunters, they have caught some kidnappers and recovered an AK-47. This is in response to our protests, the Bush protests that the military chased us, shot at us, and took away my car. Now, this is in response of the protest. This is the response of the protest. This is the success of the protest. You can see the people's power will always prevail. No matter how they shoot us, we must yarn.
Kudos to our forces, our security agents, Nigerian police force. We did take the story yesterday, Rufai, where we saw the security agents shooting around that, police station, trying to disperse the crowd. But you were saying that there's been some sort of reprisal?
Yeah, so at first, kudos to our security forces, kudos to the police. I mean, the police did a yeoman's job. While all of that brouhaha happened the day before, which we condemn, the killing of an innocent protester, they went out there and they smoked out and neutralized some kidnappers out there, which is a big kudos to the police force. As we speak, I hear that the Delta State government is convening a security meeting to be able to talk to security stakeholders. I also hear, and I saw this from a couple of people across some blogs, that they were trying to go rescue some people yesterday, and there was an ambush on them. I just hope members of the police force is safe. This is what we require from our police force, standing up for the citizens and doing very well. And we give kudos to them. In fact, these are police officers are true heroes at this point in time. It's not only when they don't do right, we say it. When they do right, we say it. And this is something. But most importantly, we must be able to make Abraka safe and secure.
Absolutely.
Lovely, wonderful town where you have the Delta State University, lovely beaches around it, economic activity, picking up in and around that area, and we cannot allow kidnapping and insecurity, take over that area. It has to be said.
Absolutely, and also we call on, the Delta State government and the Delta State security forces as well to continue to protect the people of Abraka and its environs.